Welcome to Module 4. I hope the previous classes have been as amazing, and I hope more importantly, by the way, that you've been put into practice every single thing. Remember, our goal here is not personal development, but personal growth. Personal development is learning and consistent learning, which is good, by the way, but personal growth is learning plus execution, and the execution part is critically important because this business is like driving. If I put you in a class and I teach you 51 steps on how to drive, still doesn't mean you can drive until you get behind the wheel rather, turn on the car and actually drive, right? So please, it's important that you practice. Right, so today we're going to be talking about following up effectively. In this business, majority of our work would be in following up, right? So, but again, as our custom is, we would remind you of certain things before we get back into the class. Remember where the money comes from in this industry. It comes from the difference between this model here, right, and this model here, right? The product would go from here to here to here to here to here and here, and 85% of the cost of the product is lost in between here. However, with the network marketing model, it goes like this, or like this, as you would say. 85% is here, and this 85% is then available to every one of us here who participates one way or the other. Either you participate as a small player or as a big player, it doesn't matter how. It just means that you are getting resources, right? Very, very, very important. Okay, so another important thing to note is why people join the network marketing industry. It's not all extra income. You have extra income, financial freedom, personal development, helping others, meeting people more time, owning your business, and leaving a legacy. It is important to identify all of these reasons and to have them present in your mind so that you're not trying to sell something to somebody that they don't want. Don't forget that the only thing that people really want to buy is what they want, not what you want to sell. So you have to always keep that in mind, so that when you meet people, you can ask questions using the questions at the answer model to identify what their PMF is. And all of this is called PMFs. And PMF means primary motivating factor, right? So once you identify their PMF, you're good to go, right? Then also don't forget the ultimate formula for success in this industry is people, volume, momentum, and check. Oh wow, it's a delivery guy around. Okay, so I haven't said all of that. Let's get back to class. So there's a huge saying in the industry, and I can personally track who started it. But the saying is this: the fortune is in the follow-up. Right? Prospecting is great and all that, but the fortune is in the follow-up, right? So we're going to be talking about how to make the fortune in this industry, right? Okay, so there are three major follow-up points. The first follow-up point is usually once they have seen the presentation or they've gone through some materials initially. The second follow-up point is when they have objections. People would always have objections, and we would help you deal with as many objections. There's usually just a handful of objections in this industry, and I've identified all of them, and I would give you tips on how to deal with all of them, right? And then afterwards, periodically afterwards, so sometimes some people would join you, sometimes some people would not join you immediately. And there are ways that you can keep following up with them. I mean, this badge guy should leave him. So there are ways that you can keep following up with them periodically afterwards, right? So let's keep that up. So the first is usually when you first when they first listen to a presentation or attend a presentation, right? So what do you say to someone who has watched the presentation, either live or online or on WhatsApp or whatever it is? Now, the common mistake a lot of us make is to call the person up and say, okay, what do you think? Never, ever, ever ask people what they think. Because every time you ask somebody, what do you think, you are giving them an invitation to be smart. And oftentimes being smart means being critical. So they will find something to criticize. Now, what is the best answer to ask? Now, most of us would have heard me use this a lot of times. I usually always ask, what did you like best about the presentation? See, once you ask somebody, what did you like best, you have eliminated every single thing that they didn't possibly like, and then you have narrowed their mind on the things that they liked, and you have given them a subliminal instruction to pick the best of it. And that's very critical, because once you get people in a good place, in a great place, they are most likely going to get into a buying phase to buy whatever it is that you are selling. It is very, very critical. So never ever ask people what they think. Oh, what do you think about the presentation? No, that's counterproductive. Ask people, what did you like best? Because once they can tell you what they like best, guess what? They are getting into the phase. Now, the second question that you should ask, that I would ask when I'm done with what did you like best, is this. On a scale of 1 to 10, where are you with respect to doing this business? On a scale of 1 to 10. Now, anything below 3 is bad. Anything above 6 is amazing. And anything in between means that the person needs a lot of work or has some very, very deep convictions or deep objections, right? But, it doesn't mean that they won't have objections at a 6 or 8, but they are already almost there. So when somebody says, oh, I'm a 6, oh, great. What can I do to get you to a 10? Where you're ready and you're ready right now, or if somebody says, oh, I made 2, we'll say, oh, good. Is there is there something that we didn't do right? Because once somebody says 3, the person is not particularly interested, right? So when somebody tells me that a 3, I would ask if there's something that we didn't do right, and if the person is not really forthcoming, what it communicates to me is that the person wants to get into a convincing battle, and it's not a battle that I like to fight. So I would say, oh, you know what, maybe this business is not for you. Is it okay if I kept in touch with you and let you know of my progress and see maybe we might be able to find you at a better time next time? Do you understand? So that's what I would do. I would not start to try to convince, this business is the best business in the world. This company is the best thing since sliced bread. No, I'm not going to do that, right? It's an uphill battle that you cannot fight. It drains your energy. There's too many people in the world to be bothered about one person who's not joining you yet. Critically important to note, right? So on a scale of 1 to 10, where are you? And then they tell me their number, and then I would then ask, where are they at that number? Some people will tell you that, I'm at a 7. Okay. Oh, 7 is a good number. Why are you not at a 10? Like, I don't have the money. Then I can now say, okay, do you know that there are different options to start out? If you want to start out at X option, at X option, at X option, the difference between these options are this, and this is the work required if you start at these different options, right? So, you want to find out about that. Then the next question I would then ask is, if you were to do this business, what kind of result would you get in 6 months that will make this business worth your while? And how different would your life be if you got that result? Because, right, I want to get this person into the mindset of, what my life looked like if I was making that 500,000 or 200,000 per week or per month or 5 million or 10 million, whatever it is. What would my life look like? Because once you put people in that phase, then you might be getting ready to closing them, right? We're going to deal with closing next week. I mean, it's going to be an amazing class, right? Now, that's the first part. But oftentimes, they don't usually sign up immediately. And they would most likely have some objections, oftentimes, if not all the time. And the reason is because our industry is one that has been riddled with so many assumptions, so many people have come out and have bastardized the industry. Our industry is one that is grossly misunderstood. So chances are that they would have lots and lots of objections. However, Team Sales talks about the fact that all the objections in this industry are usually just a handful, somewhere between 6 to 10 objections. And so I have decided to help you handle all of the objections, right? So as you watch, please mark the words that I use, and those words are tried and tested words by the masters in the game. So please don't try to be too smart. Just use these lines as you deal with objections, right? Very, very important. So what's an objection? An objection, an indication that they are considering your offer, but are trying to sell themselves on not taking the offer. Our job is to help them clear the cobwebs so they can make a well-informed decision. Listen, our job is not to convince them to do the business. Our job is to help them clear the cobwebs so that they can make a well-informed decision. Our job is, our goal in this industry, and our communication goal rather, is education and understanding. Because we believe that when people are well educated and they understand, they would make the best possible decision for themselves. Very, very important. So when you're dealing with an objection, your goal is not to get the person on your side. Your goal is to help the person understand, whatever limitation they have raised up is not particularly an issue in the industry. And then they can then decide if they want to do the business or not. The best person to have in your business is somebody who decided to come in. Not somebody who was casual to coming in, not somebody who was forced to coming in, not somebody... most of us have seen people that we cajoled and we forced, and then they will sign up. And then you tell them to do another thing, they say, bros, how far? I don't sign up now. You're not going to leave me. Exactly. So that kind of matter. You don't want that kind of thing in your business, right? So you want people who are coming in, who are ready to go, right? Like they're particularly good to go, right? Good. So, important to note, never get into an argument with your prospect, right? Never, ever get into an argument with your prospect. Your job is to help them understand your business, not to convince them. We are not in the convincing business. We are in the show and tell business. Show them the business, how it works. Tell them your story. Your story is your story, right? In fact, for those of us that are Christians, that's the reason why Jesus Christ says that you are witnesses. A witness, you cannot argue with a witness. If somebody says, I saw this person in this room, it's either the person saw it or did not see it. You can't argue with a witness. A witness has experienced something, and that is their own experience. Now, if you do not agree with the experience, fine. But you cannot argue with that person's experience. That's why our stories are so powerful. So our job is not to argue. Our job is to just, help them understand the business and tell them our story. Okay, so there are a number of objections that are common in this business. This part of the class would help you overcome them. The first of them is hope it is not network marketing. How many of us have heard that before? Oh boy, if you've been in this industry and you've never heard this, you haven't started. You probably just started yesterday. So how do you respond to hope it is not network marketing? I've mentioned this at the group before, but the experts have advised that you respond with a question. What do you know about network marketing? Now, what most people would say is, no, it's not. This one is not network marketing. No. Listen, it is network marketing, no matter how you try to mask it. So instead of trying to lie, why not just pose the question back to them? What do you know about network marketing? So let them talk. Let them talk, right? Because most people have an assumption of network marketing that is wrong, and so it is important that you find out what they know. Most of the time, they would come up with pyramid scheme and all that kind of stuff, and the reality is that network marketing industry is not a pyramid scheme, because anybody who comes in, every one of us in this room have seen people who came into the business and are earning a lot more than their uplines if they work hard, right? So very, very important. Now, do you know, then you ask them after they have spoken, do you know how network marketing generates money? Now, once they say, oh, no, I don't. It's not just by bringing people and these people bring. No. Then you can then explain to them using that picture and that slide that I told you about the difference between traditional marketing and network marketing. You have to go and master that slide. I might even do just a video specific to that slide, right? So that you can understand how it works. Very, 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 very important. So that's how to deal with the network marketing objection. Second is, hope it is not mention a company, right? I'm not going to mention a particular company now because, again, some other people from a different company might eventually take this course in the future. So I don't want it to be company bias. But we all know that everybody asks us, hope it's not, this company or that company. They mention the name of the company, and a lot of time with disdain. So the question the experts have told us to respond with is, what do you know about the company? Then you let them talk. And when they are done, then you tell them why your company is the one they should join. And be sure to highlight the best features. Our company is manufacturing locally, or our company is manufacturing in the US or in China. Our company is manufacturing with, best practices. Our company is the best things in sliced bread. What I would always recommend here is that as you put up your company, do not put down any other company visibly. All right? You can talk about how great your company is without talking about how bad another company is. So, because you think your company is the best, so does every other person in the industry. And our fight as network marketing professionals is not against each other as different representatives of companies. It's our fight is to get more people into the industry and not to fight the people within the industry. So it's important that it's very important that and how do you find all the great things about your company? You talk to your upline, you talk to their upline, you attend all the company events so that you can, sort of understand what the vision of the company is, what the founder wants, and how you can then learn as much as you possibly can about the company. Go to the company's website, research. Don't just be somebody who is partnered with a company that you don't exactly know so well. Very, very critical. Very, very important that you do that, right? So somebody asks you, hope it's not this company. You say, what do you know about the company? And then you help them, right? Very important one, and this one strikes those of us that are new right in the heart and keeps us quiet. They shoot you and you just cannot get up because you're excited, you talk to somebody about this company and then about how they're going to make a lot of money and all that kind of stuff, and they say, you self where you talk. How much money have you made from this business? Now, usually, if you've been in the industry for a while, or you've probably done the business very well at the beginning and you made a lot of money, this is your place to shine. You just come up and say, man, I made like 1 million last month, and again, it also depends on who you're talking to, right? And some people who 1 million last month could blow their minds, and some other people, they'll be like, okay, I made $1 billion last month, so wait till you talk, So it's very, very important to learn how to handle this objection, right? So I'm going to assume that you are in a place where you are not making money yet, whether you started newly or you started a long time, but you haven't gotten a hang of the business, so you are not particularly making money yet. right? So somebody asks you, how much have you made from this business? Now, the response depends on how much you're making. Of course, if you're making a lot of money, this is your place to shine. And again, that is with respect to the person who you're talking to, right? However, if you haven't made much, this is what I recommend that you say. This is what I used, and this is how I became successful. I would say this. I've started my journey, and as I look at the expert making millions, I know as I build my skills, that will be me soon. However, it could be both of us or just me. You get to choose if it will happen for you, because it will happen for me, right? So it's important that you use these words, because most of the time people are like, okay. Now, oftentimes they'll say, okay, you know what? Just go. When you're making money, get back to me. And you go. And you get out there and do every single thing you can to make money in the business. And I will teach you how to get back to people like this, from time to time. Right? So it's important, very, 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 very important that you use this skill, and that you use these words and say, look, I've started my journey. I mean, you're asking me how much money I'm making. I've started my own journey, and the experts are making a lot of money, right? As I look at the experts making millions, I know that as I build my skills, that'll be me soon. However, it could be both of us or just me. You get to choose if it will happen for you, because it will happen for me. Very, very, very important for you to note, right? Right? Very, very important. Okay, good. So let's move to the next. The next set of objections are objections that we would answer with something Eric Worre calls the feel, felt, found approach. These are sort of objections that come from a limiting belief in their personal effort. So the first set of objections have come from a limiting belief that they have in the industry itself or in the company. So these are like outer directed limiting beliefs. But now we're looking at inner directed limiting beliefs that have come from people looking at themselves and saying, I can't do this or I won't do that. Now, once you get to those limiting beliefs, what you must use is the feel, felt, found approach. The feel, felt, found approach gives you an opportunity to identify with the prospect in what they so that it makes them feel like they are just like you, and helps them take decisions that you have taken. So feel, felt, found. So let's see how we'll use it, right? So one of those is, I cannot do network marketing. So somebody says, I cannot do network marketing. So your response will be simple. I know how you feel. I've also felt the same way. However, I found out most successful people in this business never consider themselves network marketers too. Would you want me to share with you what made the difference for them? And the person most likely will say yes. Then you go back to an inviting formula that we talked about last week, that you've read about in GoPro. If I invited you to a meeting where you could meet some of these experts who never thought themselves to be network marketers but are doing really well, would you come? Or if I sent you a video that highlighted some very, very introverted introverted people who became very successful in this business, would you watch it? If I set up a 3-way call between you and my mentor or my coach or my upline, of course, your mentor, your coach is your upline, right? Not some coach somewhere, not me, right? Your upline. Would you get on the call, right? So very, very important to that question. The second of them you would hear very often is, I can't sell. Now, to respond to this, again, we use the feel, felt, found approach. I know how you feel. I also felt I couldn't sell. However, I found out that this business isn't about selling. It's primarily about a brand switch that would lead to a life change. Would it be okay if I showed you some simple ways you could switch your brands and help others do the same? The person would say yes. Then the next question would be, would you? If I showed you our catalog with a number of products that you could switch today, would you review it and get some of the products? If I showed you a couple of people who are doing this business without actively selling, but just getting people to change their brand, would you take a look at that? Would you attend the meeting where I would invite you to? Would you? Very, very important. Next is the objection that says, I can't talk to people. Again, the feel, felt, found approach is critical here. I know how you feel. I also felt I couldn't talk to people, particularly strangers. However, I found that this business helps you start from your friends while teaching you skills to reach more people. Would it be okay if I showed you some of our trainings that will help you get good at making money from strangers? The person would say yes or no. If the person says no, the person wants to get into an argument, and you say, oh, maybe this is not for you. If the person says yes, then you say, would you? Again, if the person says no, of course, don't argue with the person, right? Don't argue as much as possible. Thank the person for their time and then move on. But if the person says yes, guess what? Would you? Very, 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 very important for you to note, right? So that's how you handle I can talk to people. Again, the next one is I don't know plenty people. Most people come up with this. I don't know plenty people. Oh, how am I going to do this business? Well, I know how you feel. I also felt I didn't know plenty people. However, I found out that if I did this business well, I might not need plenty people personally. For example, if in January I signed up to active people and taught them to do the same thing, I monitored the process closely. I could have 4 people in January because those 2 people will bring one person each. Then 8 people because the 4 people will bring 1 person each. Then 8 people in March, 16 people in April, 32 people in May, 64 people in June, 128 people in July, 256 people in August, 512 people in September, 1,024 people in October, 2,048 people in November, 4,096 people in December. However, in this process, I have only personally brought in 12 people. However, I've been able to build my business to a point where there are 4,096 people, active people who are making money, and I'm also making a lot of money, right? Now, usually, when I explain this, once I'm done explaining it, I say, look, usually it doesn't always work as easy as this. There would be some people that would drop out or drop in. But if you do things pretty well, you might be able to hit 256 to 512 active people every single year. And that would be amazing, isn't it? Exactly. So that's very, very important. Now, the last part is, remember we talked about the 3 points of follow-up. The first of them, of course, is after the presentation. Second of them is when they have objections. And the third is periodically after. So how do you keep in touch creatively with people who you have spoken to and they haven't yet done it? So whenever you prospect someone and they don't sign up immediately, don't throw them away. They are still very, very, very useful and might still sign up. Just stay in touch creatively. How do you stay in touch? Right? Before we get into that, I want to quickly explain. Eric Worre says that it takes, that most people take 4 to 6 exposures to this business before they decide to do it. So don't leave them too quickly if you don't want someone else to reap what you have sown. Oftentimes, when you talk to somebody who sign up immediately, that's not usually the first time that they heard of the industry, right? They've heard from somewhere, from someone they didn't quite understand it, and you were the one that helped them to understand it. So it means that you are reaping where somebody else has sown. So if you don't want somebody to reap where you've sown, stay in touch. right? And there are different ways that you can stay in touch. Number one, you can stay in touch using your results. As you advance, you've got to give feedback to your prospects, when you get an upgraded alert. So usually every time I get like an upgraded alert, I would send my alert to my prospects, I would, the alert always starts from credit alert, right? So I would do credit alert, and then I would, just edit the bottom line where it talks about my account balance, and I would just put XXX there, and I would send it to these people. Usually, a lot of I remember I sent it to one guy one time, and the guy saw a text, he saw credit alert. In his mind, it was like, oh Jesus Christ, bank has paid me money, and he opened it and realized that it was my alert. And then he called me and said, Ezekiel, you're tormenting me with this thing. How can I start? Because a lot of the time when people don't do this business, they think it doesn't work. And because, at the beginning, especially for those of us who talk to people when we're just starting, we're not really sharing our stories. We're sharing the stories of all the people around us. And for them, because they don't know those people, they think that it doesn't work. But they know you. So once they see your own results, it's easier for them to decide to do it, right? When you qualify for something like a trip, let them know you've qualified. When you are on a trip, send them pictures. When you're back from the trip, send them pictures. When people are joining your business, notify your people. Oh, fantastic. I just wanted to let you know that I had 5 people who joined my business this month, which is completely amazing. And whenever it is that you're ready, I can work with you to get people to join your business too. Just things like that. Your results are a huge tool to getting your people on your side. Second is your team's results. So a lot of us don't know this, but you can use the results of your team to particularly spur your prospects on. So sometimes you might not have results, or you might not have amazing, astonishing results, to share. So you use your team's results. So for example, I could get back to my prospects. Oh, last month, 3,000 people joined our team and are already making their dreams come through. How about you? Or 300 of our team members qualify for a car or a trip. Just make sure your numbers are accurate, actually. But it's important that you use your team's results, So, somebody in our team just made $1 billion, or somebody in our team just made $1 million a month, or somebody, And as you share those stories, what will happen is that sometimes some of your prospects would see themselves in that story, and then they will be able to build, right? And I should say this, when you're sharing, when you're trying to give feedback to your prospects, please, except you have them in a WhatsApp group where they're all together, do not send them broadcast messages. Try and make the messages as personalized as possible. In fact, I encourage that you do not send broadcast messages. Me personally, if somebody sends me broadcast messages twice, I block the person. It's just a simple rule for me. So, and then you can use your company incentives. Now, the company usually will come up with incentives a lot of times, cars, trips, so you use it. So, for example, hey, our company is giving brand new cars this year. Would you like to know how you can get one? Or our company is taking people to Barbados, or taking people to Jamaica, or taking people to Australia, or taking people to China, or taking people to the US, or taking people to wherever it is, Would you like to be a part of that? Some people, the trips will be what would interest them, right? They want to go to places, they want to see things, and that would be their catch. So you have to do that, right? So many times people don't sign up immediately. Following up helps us make sure we are the ones available when they are ready to sign up, right? Have a fantastic day. So please give us feedback on the group. This week, I want you to take some of these strategies and do some very, very intense follow-up. And let's see how many of those people you follow up are able to come in and close, right? So next week we'll be talking about closing. I'm sure that next week will be week 5 and it'll be just as amazing as ever, right? Have a fantastic day. Bye-bye.